Two will enter. One will win. Welcome to the fight. Welcome to the knockout.
Welcome, everyone, to the Knockout Comic Book Debate Show and Podcast. I cannot tell you the hell it's been to get this episode off the ground and all that. I mean, I had to reschedule it from last week, and then this week, both contestants, couldn't do it because of reasons and all that. I understand fully, no blame here, but it threw me for a head spin with 90 minutes minus to get everything together. So I'm scrambling all around, going, I know this person likes Green Lantern, I know this person likes X-Men, all that. I need somebody here. My head was on fire. So and top it all off, I could not find the original video entry I would normally have for those of you watching on the YouTube and all that. People listening to the podcast will hear the usual intro here. And so it was just a nightmare scenario. So finally, I got things settled down here. I'm going to be taking over, arguing for Hal Jordan Green Lantern, and my buddy here, John's Comics with Kids. Welcome, John. We'll be arguing for Phoenix.
The Phoenix, right here, folks.
Yeah. So
let's go, as Bearded Comic Bro would say.
Thank you very much, John, for basically bailing out. So it's like, what do I do? Do I basically talk to myself for an hour, or is this like it was just a nightmare? So
that's my usual evening. So I do that sometimes. I'm down.
Well, I'm not used to running around with my head on fire. So
no, I sympathize. I've had many Comicgories episodes where the hour before the show, I'm hearing about I can't make it. I can't. So I know that panic. I know that intensity. But I was super excited because, firstly, I am a Green Lantern fan. I collect a lot of Green Lantern books. I'm actually right now hunting for some mega Green Lantern keys, Sinestro related. And awesome. Of course, I'm a mega X-Men fan. So this is an exciting matchup. I will say, for me, one clear winner that we can get into just in my heart of hearts, but very exciting.
Welcome, Magic. Good to see you. So you are. It's just me and him on the panel here. Steven Spock, Tony, John, Big Daddy Ross. So welcome. Thank you very much for the support to my channel. And I really hope we don't let you down and cause you to leave. So the link to the voting is in the chat here. I have not fully decided yet if I'm going to close voting at the end of the show here, or I'm going to wait a week, to close it, since this is a complete, because what happened was the original contestant, Geek Aficionado, who was arguing for Jean Grey Phoenix, basically said, things coming up, he basically forfeit and all that. I'm like, well, I don't want to forfeit because I don't want to forfeit, and a forfeit would have gotten in the way of my big episode 50 of the Knockout, which is coming up next episode plans. And so I'm like, I can't have a forfeit. And so right. I thought I'm going to have subs instead, if it's okay with Tim the Comic Collector. He said it was okay, so that's what we're going to do. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to leave voting open for a week.
I mean, it doesn't matter because Tim's not going to have to play anymore after tonight, so it's all good.
Yeah, well, if he loses, I'll invite him in for a knockout.
He can take over Jean Grey.
Yeah, maybe so. All right, so let's just dive into it. John, I'm going to let you have opening statement and all that, and all you just talk about Jean Grey. We'll keep it as minimal, like a minute, 2 minutes at most, kind of a thing. I don't like it to ramble on because it's like, after a while, it's like, okay, long-winded much? So I'll go ahead and I get it. I'll go ahead and let you get started with your opening statement here, and we'll get the ball rolling. So take it away.
I think in the end, what we're talking about in this competition here, especially on the Jean Grey side, are two things. Number one, the Omega level mutant that she is. She's done some pretty amazing things, even most recently being able to communicate from Earth to the moon telepathically with several people at the same time, or sending Wolverine through the past in his mind and connecting him to various versions of himself in time. That's just her Omega level mutant status. Number two, you've got the Phoenix Force, which is basically godlike, deity-like power. Power so incredible that she can basically destroy universes with it. So we're talking about those two elements against a ring that runs out of power. Like, come on, guys. Like, I get it. I like Hal Jordan just fine. Even in my opinion, he is not the Green Lantern I would even send against Phoenix. He's like third or fourth in line behind like John Stewart and Kyle Rayner, who is somewhat omnipotent with his Green Lantern power. Hal is like third in the queue here because Jean just would crush him from the distance to the moon. Like she would be able to like telepathically crush him just with her Omega level powers. So done. End of discussion.
Okay, I see how it's gonna go. Well, I'm gonna begin my opening statement, which is a simple fact. Omega simply just means that there's no one more powerful in that particular skill set on the planet. I mean, Iceman is an Omega level mutant, and he controls ice and snow. You know, because there's no one more powerful than him in that category. So big deal as far as Omega status is concerned. Hal Jordan, member of the Green Lantern Corps, basically a police force and all that. And this is a guy whose power ring can physically create anything in his mind, limitless possibilities, and its power is generated by it's your will. Simple as that, or as simple as that as far as the how the rings work. And there's time and time again why in the movie and the comics it seems always Hal is like this best of the Green Lanterns and all that is because his will saw through. There's no one stronger than Hal Jordan's willpower. Simple as that. Phoenix might be the Enigma Force, might be life itself in a sense, but Hal Jordan and his will to carry on. I mean, we see that in the MCU and Endgame. If it can bring half a universe back to life by willpower alone to succeed with that one possibility, one guy with a ring can do that too. So I will go ahead and end my opening statement here, and we'll get down to nitty-gritty of things. So, tell me more about Jean Grey, John. How is Little Miss All That gonna handle a lantern that can literally create anything? Too?
Because what is he possibly going to create? Some giant green hammer or a green shield that's going to stop her from being able to get into his mind in the seconds between his thoughts. Like before he can conceive of the cool hammer or jet he's going to make out of the Green Lantern power, she's already annihilated him from epic distance before he can even get close enough to do anything. And again, all I'm discussing here is her Omega level mutant skills, like Comics Will Break Your Heart is saying. I'm not even getting into the Phoenix Force omnipotence that she would really have with that level power. So she is really not somebody that Hal can stand. And I will also mention one weakness that Hal has repeatedly demonstrated. Parallax. Anybody remember Parallax? This is a guy who is pretty weak in the dome that Parallax could completely control him and just have him destroy entire cities. So
okay.
And Parallax is like versus like Jean Grey. Like, and then you add Phoenix on top. Poor Hal doesn't stand a chance.
Okay, quick question. How fast is Jean Grey in the term of skill set and all abilities? How fast is she?
How fast is thought? That's the real question, because before he can even like come up with what he's going to create with the ring, she has already gone in his mind, taken control of him, and can just kill him. Done.
Yeah. Tony here says the Green Lantern ring protects his mind from projects from mind control. And old man Hal here says
Parallax.
Parallax was inside the Green Lantern ring, the Green Lantern battery, which meant he was inside the rings. So that was different. And all that he couldn't use a ring without having that. But anyway, what I was getting back to my point here, Jean Grey in Phoenix, from what I know, she's still more faster than she's physically able to be. Whereas Hal with his ring can have, and at times here I saw the little research that I was able to do, was able to fly a plane construct so fast that he nearly entered the Speed Force. The Speed Force, as we know, is the Flash's domain, the fastest guy in the universe. So if he can nearly go that fast, I think he can outmove her thought.
I really doubt that strategy, but I also will say, as is proven in some of these early Phoenix issues, she travels across universes, across galaxies with
So does
like
he.
incredible speed. So the speed element is not going to save him when his mind is so clearly weak and fragile, and her Omega level powers there absolutely destroy him. And of course, then let's bring in this Phoenix Force, this discussion of an omnipotent, almost godlike power to just shred him and take him apart. You're basically talking about Star-Lord versus Thanos here. That's basically where we're at. I mean, I like Star-Lord just fine, but when Thanos he just turns him into spaghetti and it's done. Like, it's basically where her abilities as the Phoenix are.
Well, to correct me if I'm wrong, as a Phoenix, she's kind of wild and a little eccentric, right?
You
She's
think that's going to be a problem?
well, no, I'm
That
well, I'm
sounds like a
arguing.
problem for Hal.
Well, maybe for a good time. Hey, how you doing? But no, if she is literally that, she's powerful and wild beyond powerful beyond belief. But if she's not in control of herself fully, because after all, she did die in the comics. I mean, yes, like Hal did too, but she did die in the comics.
She made a choice to do that. This was not people overpowering her. This was not anybody stopping her, because nobody could, right?
Yeah.
And the only real instinct that is in complete control inside the Phoenix Force is self-preservation. So she's not just going to let Hal Jordan destroy her.
Yeah. Well, like I said, she is wild too. She's not, I don't think she would be fully in control of herself. And that is a weakness. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. You can fall because you are careless or because you're not fully in control. Someone like Hal might be more strategic than her. So he might be quote unquote.
Wait a second. Did you just claim that Hal Jordan is not careless? Somebody who is notoriously reckless
for the
and
sake
absolutely on the edge of his seat, making all kinds of numbskull decisions.
For the sake of my point here, we're arguing that he might be 80% careless, but but if she is wild, if she's pure chaos, as the Phoenix, she's more.
The question is, who is more chaotic?
Mm-hmm.
Who is in less control?
That's the point of my argument statement. But like I said, if she is not in control somewhat, and he is in more control than she is, he can outthink her, outplan, outmaneuver, and come out ahead, even if she is quote unquote more powerful than him.
Oh, look, yeah, I like that you even are willing to admit it. So, but
I'm just for the sake of argument. After all, we lost in United States lost in Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Are we arguing that the Vietnam was more powerful than us? They fought better. Period.
I mean, facts are facts, I suppose. But the real question is, like, do you truly believe she is so out of control that she would just let Hal defeat her? Because I don't see self-preservation falling to the side because the Phoenix is willing to just, because here's the real question. Hal is going to be busy. His goodness is going to completely ruin him here, right? Phoenix is like, I don't care. I'll blow up a whole planet. I'll blow up a whole universe to get rid of this guy. Who cares? Like, she is not held back by any morality, right? This is going to absolutely hinder him. This whole idea of like him being like cautious, which is ridiculous, is going to hinder him because she is basically not held to any standard. She is just here to survive and to destroy. So not really playing to his strengths.
Yeah, but it's still possible. And like old man Hal here says, he can learn. And so it's all he needs is a chance, one chance to win. Comics.
No, they're not going against a different force. They're just going against each other, straight up. Hal with the ring, fully charged, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And Jean with the Phoenix Force, in complete, not like half of it, but the full force.
And for the sake army too, and all that. If Hal, they said the Green Lantern Corps is like said the police is a police force and all that, they would call for backup, right? I'm
not. Okay, but no. This is not. That's beyond the pale. If you're claiming that you get the entire Green Lantern Corps,
I'm not saying. I'm just saying that he could call for backup if he knew. If he knew the.
But Phoenix, by that rationale, all of your bouts can now be called into question, right? Of like, well, he would call the Avengers, or she would call the X-Men, or whatever. Like, I feel like that's a dangerous, slippery slope.
Well,
It's just a 1 versus 1, as far as I understand it.
I've only ever said with it was a challenge. You know, if you could argue and convince me, and if Hal is nothing more than a cop, if Hal is really nothing more than a space cop,
Right.
do they go in alone, or do they say, hey, there's this crazy lady down the street, I need backup? And so I'm arguing it'd be within procedure possibility. And so he has another Green Lantern he'd call in, or even a Blue Lantern.
The fact here's how you know that I've won. The fact that you're even having to argue he would need backup.
I'm saying it's a possibility. I wouldn't go in alone to a fight like that.
Because I mean, the truth is, and my feeling about Green Lanterns is Hal would be fourth probably that I would call for this particular battle. I would definitely call Kyle Rayner first, because I know his power is on a different level than the average Green Lantern, and it's been proven again and again that he is almost like godlike in his abilities. I would call John Stewart way before, and I would call Joe Mullen, who is being mentioned by Comics Will Break Your Heart. All three of those lanterns would have a better shot, but I don't think any one of them could overpower Jean, even together. I think it would be absolutely a disaster for them.
Yeah. I do think that in the long run, she could outlast Hal, because I think she has more pure power. She is the battery itself, whereas Hal has to go to the battery.
Right.
Unless he has like a Blue Lantern with him, in which case those fuel the Green Lantern rings.
Right.
So, but anyway, I think it might be a matter of if he knew this battle ahead of time.
By the way, sorry, yeah. Click that link. There's a straw poll going on, and then you can vote who you think. And if you're watching this on the replay, he says he's leaving this up for maybe a week. Yeah. If you find this show in your stream, go in the description to this video or click it in the chat, and you can find the straw poll and make your vote.
Yeah, I'm thinking of leaving it open for a week. That way, the original contestants could share the link and get support if they wanted to.
I would say somebody was sharing the link, because before we even went live, there were 20 people who had already voted for you. I was like, wait, you called me into a stacked fight here? You already stacked the deck by 17 people against me? So I was the third voter for Phoenix. And Comics Will Break Your Heart knows, and so does Big John. Like, I went and I spammed my Instagram friends with this link, because I was like, wait, we got to at least even the field before the discussion hits here.
Yeah,
because I want people to hear the discussion. I love this show, firstly, and kudos to you, Matt, for having these fun debates, because these are the nerd things we love going to comic book shops to do, right? Sit down and be like, would Darth Vader be able to defeat Wolverine? Like, that's fun, right?
Yeah.
So you've made an entire series out of this. It's been a whole lot of fun, but I love it when the discussion leads the way. I hate voting for John. Well, I get it. And
the only
thing that
would have made this better, JP, was had YouTube been arguing, and I had fun sitting back.
But see, JP would never argue for Hal Jordan.
Well, that, and I'm not. I can't remember if he's still in the season 3 or not. I don't think. I can't remember. I don't think he is. I think he lost to the ferocious ladies, Lady Fantastic and Rena.
Yeah, he was going. Yeah, he was going. He had to go against Dr. Fate, right?
Yeah. So anyway,
that's a tough draw.
But I do think Hal has the best chance because of his. He might. Yeah. He has more.
So if you were going to call one lantern, you're saying you would call Hal for this task.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would call Hal.
That's impressive.
My only other thought, I have a strong inkling to pull for John Stewart, only because of his military background.
Yeah, I mean, I do think he's somebody that would be completely in control of the engagement, at least to the best of his ability. But I still think I would call Kyle first.
Yeah.
I don't know where Joe Mullen, I think we've yet to see the untapped potential of somebody like Joe, for those that haven't read Far Sector or the current Green Lantern run that just wrapped. I think we've yet to see her potential, and I think Joe could end up being just as powerful as those others. But she's in the early stages. Plus, her ring doesn't run out the same way. Her ring recharges when it's not in use. So she doesn't need a lantern to charge her ring.
Yeah, and that's a different ring, Alan
No,
Scott.
no one's calling Alan Scott. Come on.
Alan's more. But anyway, and I want to correct myself. I guess his Marine experience, because I guess Hal Jordan is in the Air Force and doesn't have
Right.
fighter pilot experience. So I have to correct myself. My cousin was a Marine, and I wouldn't.
Don't mix up your armed forces, man.
I went into cross him. I went across him because he'd kill me with a napkin.
I'm saying those Marines, hooah.
Yeah.
Don't play with the Marines, man.
But yeah.
Oh,
Otherwise,
Memorial Day is coming up, everybody. So support your vets.
But yeah, so Hal might be as almost as chaotic as Jean Grey's Phoenix might be, but I do think that he would be more focused than she would be. His military background versus she's just powerful.
And I will admit that over all the storylines of her with the Phoenix Force, certainly there are storylines where she is just completely out of control. But the more she's been in contact with the Force, the more control she's exerted over it. And the more she's been able to bend it to her will, which is ultimately the end of the original Phoenix storyline, is her basically deciding, I control this, not it doesn't control me. And her Omega level mutant ability is able to take control, and she's able to then communicate with this other omnipotent power and bend it to her will.
Yeah.
We're talking Jean as Phoenix. I mean, whether it's Dark Phoenix or regular Phoenix is a real great question, Russ. I think to Matt's point, is it ever just one way or the other? The truth is that Phoenix power is that flip of a coin, right? It's both sides happening simultaneously, right?
Yeah.
And so you can never claim it to be just purely one thing. Even when it seems like Jean's in control, it's two people driving a car, right? Two hands on the wheel, two different drivers. And that's the chaos that he's talking about.
Yeah.
My feeling, though, is at all the Hal Jordan comics I've read, he is just as much chaos and control as Jean is. And I think that he is just as much out of control in life as Jean and Phoenix together.
Yeah, and like I always leave this up to the contestants, and so it's like they don't quite argue the way I hope they would at times. But I leave strategy up to us. If my only really guideline is it has to fit the character. If the character is someone who would cheat, and do a low blow, you can bring that bring it into the argument. You can say Hawkeye would not take on Jean Grey alone. He would call the Avengers in with him. Period. He could not do it. And so if you bring the Avengers with you into the argument, and then John challenged it, going, no, foul. then that argument was Hawkeye would never do this alone. He couldn't win. He would do this. And if the argument was good enough, I would side and say the Avengers can stay.
Well, then let's talk about that, because we have two ways to look at it, right? Do I think, knowing what was coming, being aware of what was coming to battle, that Hal would go into that battle alone? No. But do you think he would? Are we admitting that he would know it was coming? Are we admitting that he is completely aware? Hey, Tuesday at 2:00, a god's coming to kill me, and I better make sure my boys are here, because I don't see that. I don't see that reality. Inversely, the other side is, if we admit that they know this is coming, do we think the X-Men are just going to let somebody kill Jean? Even when she's been controlled by the Phoenix Force, they've run to her rescue to keep others from killing her and stopping her. They would happily show up to back her and to try to take over the situation.
Very good point.
So it's hard to say that if they had prior knowledge, Jean's just going to sit there by herself. She wouldn't call them. But if we're admitting that people knew this showdown's coming, I think we were admitting that the X-Men would be like, whoa, we're not going to let her just roll out and die.
Right. Okay, so the very fact that she won't call them, but they will come to her rescue, is a delay. And I would argue that there's a small chance that Hal would know first about her, only because it's his responsibility to guard this sector from all things on all planets. So it's kind of like he needs his informants. He might have he might have a sudden, there's some crazy lady over there.
Oh,
I better go check it out.
I feel a tingling in the force. I'm gonna call foul on that, Super Russ. We can't make this. Oh, Hal Jordan now has the power of the Spectre. We can't shuffle Hal Jordan's here. We don't give him the Green Lantern and the Spectre power. This is just Green Lantern Hal. So that's party foul, in my opinion.
Well, and I can't officially, and we can't really officially do that unless the chat wants to overrule an argument like more unanimously, because I can't take on my usual hosting duties.
Well, and
all that.
even when he was the Spectre, he didn't have the Green Lantern powers. It was kind of a binary deal. Either he was the Spectre or he was the Green Lantern.
True.
And this is clearly the Green Lantern. This argument can't be both, right?
I mean, you could argue that I could argue that, well, he gave into the weakness of Parallax, and now he takes Parallaxes with him. So I could bring that argument if I really wanted to.
Because if you wanted to argue that he had the power of Parallax,
yes,
and he succumbed, but then you're falling into my strategy of like, he's not in control and he is just complete chaos, in which case he would probably join Phoenix rather than be like, I need to fight her. He wouldn't care. He'd be like, yeah, she's awesome, let's burn this mother.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing that because I think Hal can win on its own, but I'm just saying that, yeah, he's trading in any control he might have to join her fully on her level of all power, no control.
Yeah, I think Parallax Hal Jordan is like, let's bang and make the all-time like chaotic villain character. Like the Phoenix Parallax baby is going to destroy the universe. That's what they're going to create at that point.
Yeah, I'm sure that comic collector appreciates that, Russ. So so how is Jean gonna fight exactly, and how is she gonna overcome the Lantern and all his contracts? Because he has the power of the ring to basically as a shield around himself. And if this comes to a fist-to-fist fight, I don't see her winning a physical fight like that. If it's her power protects her and his power protects him, he's gonna win. Yeah, a fist fight.
I think I disagree with that. And we can argue it in there's two layers, right? There's the physical fight, or at least the in-person fight.
Okay.
I think, but in my opinion, Phoenix and Jean and all the Omega level power she has, this ends before they meet.
Yeah.
Before he is even able to see her in the distance. I mean, think about the distance from Earth to the sun. And that's the distance that Jean was able to communicate with multiple beings at the same time with her power. Then she's able to also send her telepathy through time. Like, I think at this point, before Hal knows she's there, he's dead. And before he's, I think he is just too weak in mind before she arrives. But let's just throw that all out. Let's throw out the idea that she kills him before the fight really starts and go to the actual fight. The power, we're talking about the omnipotent power of Phoenix versus the Green Lantern ring. One ring, I think there's no we've seen his constructs be destroyed time and again, even by somebody like Sinestro, who just basically ostensibly has the same power head to head, a yellow versus a green. And that's not a godlike power. When you talk about Phoenix basically crushing omnipotent power, she could dissect his ring with her power, just tear it apart. The ring's gone. And now he's basically just dying of no oxygen in space.
Yeah. And JP, I think someone mentioned earlier that at least it might have been the mind control or something, but the ring would protect and all that. I think it provides a mental shield.
I know that he's been protected, I want to say, from the Martian Manhunter.
And
I would argue her Omega level powers far surpass what we've seen from John Jones. Like, John Jones's limitations seem to be right around the planet Earth. I've never heard of John Jones being able to mentally speak to somebody on another planet or across the galaxy. His abilities seem far more limited than what we've seen from Jean.
Well, I can talk to you in California, but that doesn't mean I'm shouting.
And her ability to create visions that he can't decipher, sounds that he can't understand, or just simply kill him with his mind. It seems to me way beyond anything he's come in contact with before. So I would
Yeah.
argue that what we've seen him be able to fend off with somebody like John Jones or the Martian Manhunter doesn't even compare. It's like it's comparing a mountain to a tiny hill. It doesn't compare.
Yeah. Well, then I was like said, this would be down to a lot of it down to speed. Then a surprise attack. If Hal can move almost to the Speed Force, as information here according to the DC database, that he could almost move as fast as the Speed Force. If he could sneak up on her, it's possible that he could in this quickly. Because like I said, I do think in the long run, if Hal doesn't win this and win this as soon as he can, then yeah, I think the Phoenix's stamina would win out. I will acknowledge
It's funny.
that.
That's an interesting way to look at it, because I almost feel like it was the opposite. I almost felt like it was like Gene's going to win this in seconds, or if somehow he's able to fend off that first psychic attack, then maybe they go a few rounds and then she crushes him.
Well, maybe it's like an Oreo then. If he doesn't lose right away, and if he doesn't win right there at the, if from 1 to 10, if he doesn't win somewhere between 3 and 7, he loses. But at 1 to 2 and 8 to 10,
1 and 2 are going to be the pivotal ones. Can he make it through those first few assaults?
And then if he can, if he needs to control a situation immediately, I think, to win out. Otherwise,
and to JP's point, like even the entire core at their height, say the like late 80s, early 90s core, where they had just like an insane, I mean, obviously they've trimmed down over the last few years the number of Green Lanterns, because they've had a couple of big events where they wiped a bunch of them out. But if they even started with like their mass core, I don't think they could possibly defeat her as a team. Even I think all of them versus just her would be. Firstly, can somebody give me this comic? That's the book I want.
Yes, yeah, I want this comic too, and I think it looks like they're having a pretty good fight against her. Yeah, I came across this on Google.
Yeah, she looks like she's really suffering there.
Super Team Family presents Green Lantern Corps versus the Dark Phoenix, and supposedly number 1280. Yeah, if anyone has this, John and I want a copy.
Yes, I've never even seen this book, so thank you for sharing this. This is why people should be tuning into this show every time, because this is fantastic. What is Super Team Family presents?
Yeah,
is it just issue number 1?
No, it says
1280.
I tried looking on before on eBay and other things like that. I haven't found it yet. So I don't know if it's real or not, but yeah, when I saw this comic, it's actually itself, and a quick, sorry to everyone listening.
Oh, it's a faux comic. Says
it's a faux comic.
Might not be real. Oh, I mean, I want that. See, I would way better than Teen Titans and the X-Men, which is it's a solid read.
Well, thank you.
I want this. I want all of a sudden Jean Grey crosses time and space and lands in the DCEU and just like is going bonk. I want to see that.
Well, thank you, Magic, for making sure I didn't look for it any longer, and thank you very much for breaking my heart.
It's the number that really threw me, because I don't think Super Team Family ever got to 1200 issues.
But when I used this as part of the marketing for earlier, before I had to reschedule a couple of times.
Great cover. That's a great piece of fun art. So I love it.
I used it there. It was just perfect. So
that's really cool. I mean, I think that would be an exciting story, because you have so many layers to that fight that even if she could take out, like you're saying, in round 1 and 2, a whole slew of their bangers, there's still so many. You're talking about, it's like the Battle of 300, the Battle of Thermopylae, where you have like a small versus a large army, right? And she might be able to fend off the top tier people, but like, can she defend against a throng? That's a whole other thing. And I think that would be exciting. I still think she would wipe them. As JP said earlier, it would take the entire corps to take her out. And as Jennifer said, if they had to sneak up on her, men don't have honor. How do you sneak up on an Omega level telepath? She knows you're there before you're there. Even a speedster would have a hard time with that, sneaking up on her.
Empty your mind.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's something that Hal Jordan might actually be good at.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for the Dragon Ball Z fans, Ultra Instinct, to act without thinking, kind of a thing. So, but yeah, that's another episode. That's another show or character I want. I want somebody who loves Dragon Ball Z to argue a Dragon Ball Z character. So if anyone out there loves Dragon Ball Z, please sign up for season 4.
Maybe have you done like a team series where it's just teams?
I've
This
thought
team
about
versus
it.
that team, and you'd have a smaller set. It would have to be like, only like, I don't know, 8 rounds or whatever. Eight. It's the Elite 8 teams.
I've thought about it, but ever since season 1, where I thought, oh, it's one person against 8, we can't
Yeah, that's
have
not fair.
that. We can't have that. So pick your one. And so ever
But
since,
if each contestant picked like 5 members who have ever been a
Mm-hmm.
member of that team and just basically said, these are my 5 versus your 5, and then
Yeah.
everybody played off, you could get like, I think it could be very exciting.
Yeah, but I will see. I might have
A
to do something
Dragon
like,
Ball Z team would be pretty. I mean, I have not watched a ton of Dragon Ball Z, but that could be pretty epic.
yeah. I don't know. If I do something, if I do anything with teams, it might be live action. This person argues this person argues this person, and they argue together. In fact, I'm working with ideas for the future here, so stay tuned. Something might actually be
Ooh.
showing up.
I mean, if you need an X-Men champ, I'm your guy. You call me up.
Yes, that's
You
why
called me for Phoenix, and I was like, well, who am I robbing this from? I felt guilty at first, but then he said Jimmy, and I was like, I'll take from Jimmy anytime.
Yeah, the question wasn't would you argue the character, it was could you argue at the time?
Right.
So
No, it's
that
more
was
like who am I robbing this from? Because I don't want to take anything from somebody. It was Jimmy,
Yes.
and I was like, I'll take it from Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'll
Anyway,
steal this W from Jimmy.
do you have any other points to the fight to ring things back? Because we can argue
Sorry.
more about.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting distracted too.
No,
So,
it's the beauty of the show, and I love it.
Yeah.
So thank you for inviting me back.
Yeah.
I will say I think we've hit the main points for me, and I think it's really hard to understate, even overstate the massive abilities of an Omega level telepath.
Mhm.
And there's so many things that fall into this category. It's one of the things that I feel like makes Martian Manhunter one of the most underrated heroes on the Justice League, because he does so much for that team. And everybody always thinks about Batman and Superman and whatever, but I'm always like, dude, Martian Manhunter is the key to what makes the Justice League work. And the telepathic abilities are that. And Jean, for me, is on a completely different level from him. Just absolutely mind-blowing, literally. And so for me, like, she is that Omega level ability alone makes Hal Jordan's victory hugely questionable. And that's before we even throw in the other stuff. Hal can hide in his ring. I mean, that's true. I've read that issue by Morrison where he basically died in space but survived in his ring a little bit, which was a typical Morrison, mind-blowing.
So, well, there you go. He hides in his ring. The ring drifts through space.
But see, that's my point. That's when the God level power comes in, and she just tears apart the ring. She just disintegrates the ring into atoms.
But if the ring is camouflaged as just it looks like just a ring, you're not gonna go, I'm gonna mentally probe that piece of jewelry.
You think she would be fooled by it? You think she'd be like, no, it's just a ring now. I thought I destroyed him. But it's
I think for anyone to look at a ring and see anything but a ring is ridiculous. She wouldn't know Green Lantern. She wouldn't know the power rings. Oh, so it'd be like someone lost a ring in space and then he pops out. There you go. He got close.
I love it.
So there you go. Jean Grey, Comics for Break Your Hearts. Jean Grey also gets points because if I fight her, I'm just gonna let her step on me.
I mean, she's got those amazing boots.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome to be on the show anytime, Comics or Breaks Your Heart.
Jennifer knows her books, but you got to give her someone like Jean in the Phoenix Force. She'll be all about it.
Well,
Death by Snoo.
If she wants on the show for season 4, she can pick any powerful character she wants, but it has to be a bad guy. Season 4.
She prefers bad guys. Are you kidding me? She's like she and Mars are like bad guys are their favorites.
Season 4 is villains, and the theme is gonna be good as or bad is the new good or something like that.
Ooh, I love this.
So, but yeah, if you liked it, then you should put a ring on it. See, there you go. Yeah, she would go, a ring. I'm gonna put it on, and then she goes,
Beyonce arguing on behalf of Hal Jordan.
Yeah,
so good.
But yeah, his ring, pure and simple, run by willpower. I mean, she might be powerful herself, but if you have the will, to do something, there's a reason why the saying is that if there's a will, there's a way. He can win. He can literally win the fight if he just fights long enough to do it, because he refuses to give up. He doesn't have to be more powerful than her. He just has to not give up first. Pure and simple. So that's basically my thing. I'm basically out of ideas, and we're just having fun afterwards. So is Swamp Thing a bad guy? I thought he was a good guy.
He is definitely not on like sides. He's on the side of nature. So he is what you'd consider the gray between black and white.
Well, comics, if you want to argue or convince me, I will throw him into season 4 if you will argue him. But I need to convince me that he can qualify in the villains category, because I'm not sure if the gray area.
She knows more about Swamp Thing than I do, so she's definitely the expert, way beyond me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, let's just go ahead and wrap things up here with our statements, and then we will. I want to just check on the voting. We'll go ahead and let voting last another week. That way, the original guests, who are going to argue the show, can still share the link or whatever if they want to get support and all that, since they weren't able to make the show itself.
I know. I did that once on Comicgories. It didn't. She was not happy with me.
Well, you guys seem to like to put me against the biggest, baddest comic book collections knockout. Like, wow, I'm gonna rock. Who am I going up against? They hate me.
So good. You're so funny.
They hate me, I swear. They pretend to like me. They just
so funny. You're so funny.
Yeah, it's like going like, oh, who am I up against? Not near mint. Crap.
I will admit, Rob has not done very well on that show. So Rob's not the go-to guy.
Right now, the go-to guy is making it to the second round. I just want to make the second round. I don't even have to win.
I've been there. Dude,
forfeit and let me into the second round. You don't even have to let me win. Just let me into the second round.
I want to get it to that championship round.
Yeah, I want to get to silver. I'm tired of bronze. So anyway,
so good.
Do you have your closing statement or your closing thoughts on Jean Grey?
I think honestly, the way that Jean's abilities as a telepath and her telekinesis as well, which we didn't really get into her ability to move things like the ring. We didn't get into this power that she's got. That Omega level power alone feels like it's absolutely a deal breaker, game winner. But then when you throw this godlike omnipotence of the Phoenix Force and the unpredictability of it, it's not like Hal Jordan can like break it down and be like, oh, I know what she's going to do. You don't know. She's just willing to destroy it all for her own survival. So I feel like those things make her absolutely unstoppable. We're looking at June, but it might be late June because I think I'm trying to finish Omni X-Men before we come back to Comicgories. I've been enjoying my only one big show a week kind of thing.
Yeah. For those of you listening on my podcast, which has gotten a small following, like only a half a dozen people or so, the Comicgories is basically a competition where they show covers for categories like green cover or smile cover and the best category fit. So I have a Batman, the Joker smiling cover, for smile cover. If I could find the book, that's what I play in the 30 seconds I have. And Comicgories is a show that they do on John's Comics with Kids channel. It used to be on The Boy Who Had 7, but he had his responsibilities and things that came for, and John took over the helm. So that's
so it's the comic community cover challenge with a 30-second timer. That's the little catch of it. It's a lot of fun just watching people show books you might never see anywhere else.
Yeah.
And competing with silly, like lighthearted. Nobody's taking it too personally, just having fun.
I am. I've yet to make it to the second round. It's very personal.
Except for Matt. Sorry.
This is war, and I will win. Yeah. But yeah, for me, my closing statement, all that. Green Lantern, his power ring. While he might not physically have the power, because like I said, he's the Jean Grey, the Phoenix, is the lantern battery the Green Lanterns have. Hal is the ring. He has access to the power, but he's not radiating the power except for when he was parallax. But his willpower allows him to create things of such strength and such a variety because it's limitless compared to what your only limit is what your mind is, and as he can mentally create anything to fight her. And so I think that if he can survive the initial meetup, he can win this, provided it does not carry on too soon. Because I do think that she would outlast him, in the end, kind of thing. I think her endurance because of pure power might win. John has argued that he thought differently, but that was just my two cents in the argument. So I think that Hal wins because he has the will to win. He might not be as powerful, but he has the slightly more in control of himself than she is. He can strategize. He can fight and overcome because he has the willpower to do so. So that is my reasons for Hal to win. Hopefully I have done the comic collector justice. Voting will be left open for a week. The link has been in the description for those of you who are coming up later on. It's been in the chat here. Let's swing by and see what the score is just to laugh. Because the vote will be open for a while, but I want to see where it is because apparently the numbers were big this time around. Let's see.
So I just want to say,
there we go.
When I got the call from Matt that I was going to join, I was down 3-20. I was down by 17 votes at like 2 hours ago. And I spammed all of my X-Men friends with the link. Because now I think, let's see where we are.
All right. And again, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, voting is now closed. I just want to see where we are in the progress because this is a different time I'm doing for the format.
Yep.
The results for right now are Jean Grey 43, Hal Jordan 26.
So now I'm up 17. I flipped the script on you.
So if you're listening, if you're watching, or should I say listening in the podcast, I will piece in the final score at the end. I'll pop back in and say the final results were this or this and this. So because of the whole contestants couldn't meet up, I didn't feel right about one person forfeiting. Maybe I need to just say in the future that if someone forfeits, the other person will move on and we won't do the matchup. But I wasn't quite sure how to rectify that whole thing since this isn't just a fun little game show on YouTube here. It's actually the podcast too. And I didn't want to just say this one was forfeited. The winner is this. Tune in next time for this show. I just didn't feel right doing that. A 30-second podcast saying, well, sorry you wasted 30 seconds of your life. Come back next time. You got to fight the X-Men fans here and spam your guys' friends.
A huge thank you to those people who are here live on the Mr. Comics 89 channel. So JP and Jennifer and Old Man Hal for hanging out with us and chatting it up with us because this has been a lot of fun.
Yes, and like I said, Jennifer and hell, even you, Old Man Hal, you guys are more than welcome to be on. Anyone listening now, you're more than welcome. I would like more new people for season 4 and all that. And so if anyone wants to argue, a character, like I said, I want it to be villains. So if Old Man Hal wants to be Parallax or a Red Lantern, because I would argue a Red Lantern's more of a villain than a green, than Hal would be. Or if you guys have something, someone's a Dragon Ball Z fan. I love Frieza and I like Cell. If someone wants to argue those characters, I would love to bring.
I was going to say the boy who had 7 is a pretty big Dragon Ball Z fan, so you definitely got to hit him up. He would probably be down to play one of those.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him. So that's the only person I know to go for sure who's a Dragon Ball Z fan.
Yeah, he's a busy guy, I know, but
so it's like going I need to get him into a Dragon Ball Z because I had the idea when I started this thing for a Goku versus Vegeta special showdown. Ooh. He loves Vegeta. I'm a Goku fan, and so it would be a really fun matchup. I always felt. But that's the thing there. So yep, if anyone wants to be a part of this show, hit me up on Instagram, Mr. Comics 89. I would love to have you. Any new people, any new blood is welcome. All you need to do is just have fun. John here has been great to get along. It's just been a great to argue with. I get along with guys that are slightly older than me by just a year or two.
And
Yeah.
this is my second time being on. I argued for the Justice League for a good while. It was a lot of fun. This show's a lot of fun.
Yes, I want John back too for another season. I'm just trying to get more of a variety of people. I don't want the same names over and over again. I want to try and have other new people a chance too. Just to,
I respect the diversity.
kind of just have fun. That's partly why when I started losing too, I like my hosting role where I get to argue for both sides and stay above the fray because I don't vote anymore. I don't vote unless it's a tie. I won't vote this time, period, because
It's good to have a tiebreaker. Yeah, it's good to have that.
I'm the vice president in the Senate.
Yeah, there you go.
So
right?
I get to cast a vote. So, all right. So, thank you, John, for allowing me to put on this show tonight. Like I said, the only way I could, because I didn't want to delay this the other night, because I'm neck deep in scheduling or figuring out and planning episode 50 of the Knockout. That is next.
Well,
so
it's my pleasure, and I commented on both of your posts about the Knockout of this episode because I said this is an unfair matchup because the truth is I love Green Lantern comics and I love X-Men comics. So for me, this was like a wonderful broken heart moment where I was having to choose sides between two universes that I really think are very vibrant and interesting.
In fact, I want to invite you now. Do you want to be a part of the next episode of 50? Because I want people who do good arguments. Not to say everyone who's on the show has not done good arguments, but there are several people I had eyes on that were closer to what I originally had the goal of the show being. And so I'm trying to get those people in there so that way I could have the milestone of 50 be truly the next level, because it's special rules this time. It's a slightly different format, and I am purposely being vague for you guys in the chat here because I want to keep it a surprise until then. In fact, when I finally decide on all the details, whoever is a part of the show, you guys are not allowed to know a lot too. The bare minimum. Basically, what you guys are going to know is your character and your character only.
Wow.
Your plan.
I'm in for this. You pencil me in wherever you need me to go.
Awesome. Because then that way it's you have to know your character through and through. It's not just here's my powers. It's here is my strategy.
I don't know a lot of things in life, but I know comic book characters.
All right. So, all right. Well, I'll put you down, John, if you're good to go. All right.
Definitely.
All right, that makes it one step closer. I just need that final step. We just need to figure out a character for you, and we can discuss that on Instagram. So,
there's lots. I'm happy to play lots.
All right. Well, take care, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. And I'll hand this over to me a week from now, and let him tell you the result of this matchup. So take it away, Mr. Comics, with the results. All right. See you later, John. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Happy collecting, everyone.